My name's Mike Rowe, and I've been attending Pantano for about 2 months. Well, I was raised in the church, mostly with my mom, and I went to Christian school in Colorado, where most of my mentors and coaches come from. I continued as an active member of the church, and my mom's Sunday school, she'd always drag me in, and her name is still on the wall today. Years later, my mom died of cancer, and I gave the eulogy for her funeral in that very church. And when it was finished, I just said, this isn't for me anymore. And I felt like if God gave up on me, well, I just needed to give up on him. And that was 11 years ago. Well, fast forward to Sunday, back in July. I felt like I was missing direction and peace in my life. And I told my wife, Heather, that I wanted to go to church. And then that morning came and I said, I don't want to go. I was tired, didn't want to get out of bed. Well, Heather told me to get up and she pushed me both feet out of the bed. And so we arrived at Pantano and we found some seats in the back, and we saw this guy walk by, and he had tattoos, shoulder to wrist, t-shirt, and a headset on. And I told my wife, I said, if that's the pastor, then I think we're home. So we stood there for a minute, and there wasn't anybody around us, and all of a sudden I felt this warm hand on my shoulder, and kind of jerked around, looked, and I didn't see anybody. And then a voice came to me in my ear, and it said, I chose you. So at that moment, I said, either I need a straitjacket or something miraculous is going on here. And I couldn't get those words out of my head. The band is always something that I've really cherished in church. It's a real difference maker for me on whether or not I want to go. And I was just awestruck. I mean, the Pantano band brought me to tears. The service beginning was amazing. Just my heart leapt. I felt like something real, special was happening, and I couldn't really explain it, but I think Heather felt it too, and we held each other tighter as the music went on, but something inside me said something different was happening here. So when the music stopped, Pastor Trevor came out. I mean, we both knew that this was going to be our home for church, and before he ever said a word, we knew that this is where we needed to be. The part that moved me to jump back into faith is what happened next. I remember it very clearly. Everybody thinks the pastor's looking at them and pointing at them, but he was looking at me in his first words that I remember. He looked at me, pointed at me, and said, "You are chosen." So I was completely blown away. I mean, goosebumps, the whole deal, because he had just said the thing on the stage that I heard whispered in my ear when I first got there. Right then, I knew that God had reached out and said, it's time to sit at his table. That was the moment that I decided to follow Jesus Christ and be baptized, and it was real. I called the church, told them my story to every person that answered the phone that would listen to me, because I was so excited. And I signed up to be baptized, not knowing that it was Baptism Sunday. And fast forward a few days in that week, I tore 2 tendons in my left ankle. A lot of pain. I was in bed on medication, had crutches to get around on. My wife came in and asked me, she said, "Do you want to go?" And I said, "Hey, no excuses. I'm getting this done. This needs to happen." And when the moment came that I was to be baptized, I remember going under the water, and I felt like I was under there for like 10 minutes. I heard the music, and I felt this warmth over me that gave me an excitement to a new relationship with my Savior and Jesus himself. My life hasn't been the same since. Now, I know that a lot of people talk about the honeymoon period after baptism, but I can truly say that for the first time, I was really at peace with the things and the many things that kept me out of the church for so many years. And that includes being at peace with my mom's death. And that is an absolute miracle to me. Being able to believe that I'll see her again in heaven is just overwhelming. I am forgiven. I am saved. I am chosen. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it, yo.